Hello, I'm H.G. Tudor, utilising the detail from an article by Camilla Tominey in The Telegraph, which provides us with a greater level of detail about the relationship and how it was formed between Harry's wife and Catherine, Princess of Wales. Whilst reading this to you, I'm also breaking it down in terms of the narcissistic perspective to help you understand what's really going on and what's at play between the two individuals. Picking matters up, William had warned Harry about taking his time, which of course didn't go down well with Harry's wife because that would be perceived as a threat to her ensnarement. She wouldn't have thought of it in those terms. She wouldn't think, oh, I'm trying to ensnare Ginger Bollocks here, but the brother who I really wanted is getting in the way by saying to his brother, slow things down. She would just be told by her narcissism that the suggestion that he slow things down is a suggestion that they shouldn't be together and she's not good enough. And the narcissism, of course, interprets that as a threat to control. The article continues, the princes had already disagreed over Harry's desire to punish the press by taking ownership of his own narrative by upping the use of social media. William, who along with equally introverted Kate has never craved the limelight, felt it was too much of a celebrity approach. Of course, this is in keeping with what Harry's wife wants, because social media is often used by narcissists as an excellent means of asserting control, drawing fuel, accessing character traits, and of course, residual benefits. Being of a more never complain, never explain persuasion, William questioned the wisdom of Harry going to war with the newspapers so early on in the relationship. It was risky for a woman he had only been with for a matter of months. This again shows the empathic mind of Harry and the affliction of his addiction. Rather than think, well, actually, I don't need to go to war with the newspapers. We've only known one another for a short while. I didn't do this for Chelsea, did I? I didn't do this for Caroline Flack. I didn't do this for Flea and all of the others. I didn't do this for Cressida. Why am I doing it so soon? He didn't pause to question himself as to why he was so ready to go riding into battle, his white knight syndrome in full effect. The reason, of course, that he was doing so was that his addiction was causing him to fail to see that this was a new relationship, was failing to cause him to see that diving in so early would be problematic, and instead made him believe that he was doing the right thing. Viewed objectively, he's not. Why would you take on the edifice that is the press over somebody that you've only been seeing for a few months? You wouldn't. You'd wait. But his emotional thinking has caused him to believe that she's the one, that she's hugely important, because his emotional thinking has gone through the roof as a consequence of her ensnarement of him. And therefore, his emotional thinking makes him believe, no, she's the one, so I must protect her. They've been nastier to her than they have been to other members, other people that I was involved with, which probably isn't the case at all. But his perception is of that. And therefore, rather than take a balanced approach, he goes racing in there. The article continues, it then didn't help that Harry's wife seemed intent on reminding staff that she was different from other royal girlfriends. Grandiosity, self-absorption, according to Valentine Lowesboat courtiers. In the spring of 2017, he writes, 6 months before the couple were officially engaged, Harry's wife told one of Harry's advisors, I think we both know I'm going to be one of your bosses soon. Arrogance, self-absorption, sense of entitlement, haughty behaviours, assertion of control. As she never shied from reminding aides she already had a public profile thanks to starring in a legal drama Suits, Triangulation. Her approach was, I know everything, but I want you to control me so I can rebel against it, said someone familiar with her modus operandi, i.e. victim approach in order to assert control. She didn't seem to fully understand how the monarchy worked, however. At one point during the Sussex's tour of Australia in 2018, according to Lowe, she allegedly declared, I can't believe I'm not getting paid for this. Sense of entitlement, self-absorption, residual benefit. On another occasion, she asked those involved with the Royal Foundation why they weren't doing more to monetize the Invictus Games. Absence of emotional empathy, sense of entitlement. Contrary to Harry's suggestion, he was unsupportive, it was the Prince of Wales in fix-it mode who agreed that experienced and highly professional Amy Pickerel be moved from the press office to become Harry's wife's deputy private secretary following her engagement to Harry. Yet shortly after the announcement, a senior aide discreetly raised with the couple the difficulties caused by their treatment of staff who were bending over backwards to help them. Haughtiness, assertion of control, absence of emotional empathy. People needed to be treated with understanding, even when they were not performing to Harry and Harry's wife's exacting standards. Expectation of perfection. The Duchess is said to have replied, "It's not my job to coddle people." Absence of emotional empathy, haughty behaviours. Then there was the ongoing confusion over freebies. His claim that Harry's wife shared all the freebies she received, clothes and perfumes and makeup, with all the women in the office. Not only is this disputed, revision of history, but if it were true, it would amount to a serious breach of the rules on the receiving and registering of gifts, lack of accountability. Members of the royal family are not allowed to accept any gift unless it is for a major royal occasion, such as a birth or marriage, and then it needs to come from a royal warrant holder. Official gifts, including those received on tours or from foreign visitors, are all listed on a register. Royals are expected to pay for their wardrobe, official and unofficial. Yet when she first came on the scene, Harry's wife's expectations was that she could keep some of the dresses she had been loaned. Sense of entitlement, lack of boundary recognition. In Spare, Harry refers to an assistant being asked to resign by Palace HR after we showed them evidence she traded on position with Harry's wife to get freebies. It echoed Harry's wife's friend Janina Gavankar, who appeared on ITV's This Morning in March 2021, claiming someone had to leave for gross misconduct. Both statements are denied by those working for the couple at the time. One example which demonstrated Harry's wife's confusion over the issue was when she wore a pair of diamond earrings given to her by the Saudi Prince Mohammed bin Salman to a state banquet in Fiji in October 2018, just after his regime admitted killing journalist Jamal Khashoggi. Absence of emotional empathy, residual benefit. At the time, the palace claimed they had been loaned by Chopard. Only later did it transpire that they were a wedding gift from MBS. Harry's wife's lawyer, Shillings, initially said, at no stage did the Duchess tell staff that the earrings were borrowed from a jeweller, as this would have been untrue and therefore any suggestion that she encouraged them to lie to the media is baseless. 2 days later, Shillings added, it is possible, she said, the earrings were borrowed, revision of history, which is correct, as presents from heads of state to the royal family are gifts to Her Majesty the Queen, who can then choose to lend them out to members of the family. Yet, if the earrings were loaned by the Queen, staff would have said so. Nor would they have been described as loaned if they were a wedding gift. Shilling also claimed Harry's wife had no knowledge of Khashoggi's murder, despite the Northwestern International Studies graduate once admitting being a voracious reader of The Economist, which ran several stories about the killing. Revision of history, lie. It wasn't long after their engagement that the exit door began rapidly revolving, with Harry's private secretary, Ed Lane Fox, announcing his intention to step down after the wedding, followed by Deputy Communications Secretary Katrina McKeever, who left in September 2018. Hemorrhaging of Steph, demonstrative of the manner by which Harry's wife behaves. Rumours of tensions then went into overdrive when the Sunday Times reported on October the 28th, 2018, that the brothers would be separating their courts under the headline Harry and William to call it a day for their double act. The official announcement wouldn't be made until March 2019. This, of course, has been occasioned by the behaviour of the narcissist to cause divisive behaviours, making it easier for her to control Harry. Unknown to the press at the time, just 2 days earlier on October the 26th, Mr. Knorf had written an email to his immediate boss Simon Case, who succeeded Mr. Head as William's private secretary, saying he had spoken to the head of HR for the palace about some very serious problems with Harry's wife's behaviour. He wrote, I am very concerned that the Duchess was able to bully 2 PAs out of the household in the past year. The Duchess seems intent on always having someone in her sights. She's bullying X and seeking to undermine her confidence. Bullying, assertion of control, lack of accountability, absence of emotional empathy. We have had report after report from people who have witnessed unacceptable behaviour towards X, despite the universal views from her colleagues that she is a leading talent within the household who is delivering first-rate work. He went on to describe the couple's tour of Australia, New Zealand, Fiji and Tonga, which was still going on, as very challenging and made worse by the behaviour of the Duchess, and revealed that Samantha Carruthers, the then head of HR, agreed with me on all counts that the situation was very serious, adding, I remain concerned that nothing will be done. Although well-meaning, Miss Carruthers had grown close to Harry's wife. Both shared a love of dogs, and it was Miss Carruthers in which the Duchess later confided that she was suffering mental health problems. Miss Carruthers had also arranged for her own PA, Lara Grutides, to become executive assistant and office manager to the Sussexes' then private secretary, Samantha Cohen. Use of pity play. Harry's wife used to refer to both women as the Sams. Miss Cohen, a long-standing and highly respected royal aide who only agreed to work for Harry and Harry's wife because the late Queen had personally requested it, resigned in October 2019 after being treated harshly. Absence of emotional empathy, lack of accountability, sense of entitlement, manipulation, and likening the job to working with teenagers, according to Lowe. Rightly or wrongly, disgruntled employees therefore questioned Miss Carruthers' ability to get to the bottom of the complaints. The Duchess vehemently denies bullying anyone, and on Netflix the couple claim to have submitted a 25-page rebuttal to the allegations, nullification of threat to control. The findings of a subsequent independent investigation have never been published by the palace. When in early December 2018, news broke that Harry's wife's personal assistant, Melissa Tuabati, had also resigned after just 8 months in the role, more reports emerged about dictatorial Harry's wife. The couple claimed her exit acted as a catalyst for the negative publicity. But others point out that Harry and Harry's wife's reputation suffered because she was no longer there to smooth things over with the various people they seemed to rub up the wrong way. Her resignation was followed by a female protection officer. Ms. Pickerel handed in her notice on March 2019, swiftly followed by Mr. Knorf. Both now work on Prince William's Earthshot prize. In Spare, Harry describes the claims as rumours and lies from staff whose Team Cambridge and Team Sussex rivalry and jealousy poisoned the atmosphere. He also suggests that employees couldn't take constructive criticism, saying all feedback was seen as an affront, an insult, deflection. He claims William's staff had a knack for backstabbing, a talent for intrigue, and they were constantly setting our two groups of staff against each other. He insists Harry's wife spread kindness with baskets of food and flowers, bribery, bought pizza and biscuits, and hosted tea parties and ice cream socials. Yet when an ice cream van was sent to Kensington Palace, it apparently came with Harry's wife's strict instructions that it should only be enjoyed by the Sussexes crew and not the Cambridges, their staff, or even their children. Sense of entitlement, dictatorialism, absence of emotional empathy. After the Duchess left, her staff called the rest of the household, insisting they share in the spoils. One former employee complained that Harry's wife's generosity made her unpleasant behaviour even harder to manage. 1 minute she'd be buying you flowers, the next she'd be blanking you. Silent treatment, assertion of control, black and white thinking. So when William claimed Harry's wife was difficult, abusive, rude and alienating half the staff during the dog bowl row at Nottingham College in 2019, he wasn't parroting the media, as Harry claims. In fact, he was all too aware of Harry's wife's reputation well before the nickname Duchess Difficult started appearing in the press. Justifying his decision to bare his soul to the world, Harry told ITV's Tom Brady in an interview on Sunday night, "Silence only allows the abuser to abuse. I don't know how staying silent is ever going to make things better. That's genuinely what I believe." Once again, the use of genuinely what I believe tends to suggest he doesn't. The statement has naturally raised eyebrows among those asked to sign NDAs, preventing them from discussing their times working for the Sussexes and other royals. So many confidences now appear to have been shattered. Throughout Spare, Harry peddles unsubstantiated theories that the media had an agenda against him and Harry's wife, and that royal aides colluded in this by leaking and placing negative stories about them. Paranoia. He also accuses both the press and the palace of trying to pit them against other royals in a bid to elevate the public image of those further up the pecking order. Paranoia, envy. Yet, among those who witnessed firsthand the rise and fall of Harry and Harry's wife, it is fair to say that another of the late monarch's monikers applies. Recollections may vary. Erdem and Archwell declined to comment. A detailed analysis there of the relationship between Harry's wife and Catherine, and then more latterly between the House of Cambridge as it then was and the House of Sussex. This, of course, provides us with an excellent opportunity to understand precisely how it is that the behaviours panned out, and to enable me to analyse all of that for you, explaining the various facets of narcissism, overlaying the information that Camilla Tominey has provided. What about below the line? What do people observe? Gary Ormsby Good article, Camilla. All makes sense. Gunilla Jones. Silence only allows the abuser to abuse, so he is saying that the palace, in staying silent about the abuse he has heaped on the royal family, allows him to abuse more. Harry is sick. Louise Lawrence, sick and thick. He can't even keep his story consistent. Martin Noon, Bryony Gordon, which of course see parts pass him for the interview where she went to California. He states Bryony Gordon has just pimped herself out. I always respected her journalism, but she has now shown she's just another media prostitute. Al Green respected her journalism. She writes vacuous waffle about her privileged first world strife that, like Harry, deserves no sympathy whatsoever compared to the real challenges that much of the world's population have to face. Mandy Parker, I agree. Staying silent does allow the abuser to continue to abuse. Harry and Harry's wife are the abusers here. The royal family is trying to maintain dignity. But honestly, I think it is time for this pair of miscreants to be stripped of any and all titles. J.L. Clark. Open the comments on the Bryony Gordon puff piece. I, for one, would like to fully express my disgust at this evil, snivelling apology of a prince in the hopes he might see it. Blackmailing creep. Genevieve May. It's just sick how Harry and Harry's wife are behaving. Without a doubt, Harry and Harry's wife have serious mental health problems. Well-balanced people do not behave in the same way that they behave. Vivian Cousins. I would say Harry's behaviour has made all NDAs null and void. Open house, fight back. He's a bully, she's a bully. Let them have some of their own medicine. Victoria Martin. It's creepy reading Bryony Gordon's article, and the threats from Prince Harry towards William and Kate towards their children, horrible. Al Green. This is the modern mental illness of woke victimhood, celebrated by Harry and Bryony. Bryony Clark. I think this article is bang on. Harry tries to distort history to his own ends. Disappointed I can't comment on my namesake's article, although she spells her name wrong. But all that demonstrates is a sado with a massive ego who just lies. Richard Minnesota. When I saw the article by Bryony, I thought that someone must have hacked into the Telegraph server and inserted the outrageous interview as a prank. It was not an interview, it was a press release from the royal grifters, including an implied threat that he has hundreds of pages of additional betrayals and salacious lies ready to publish should the royal family take away their royal titles. Lots of people complaining that they can't comment on the Bryony Gordon article, which I analysed for you in parts passing. And again, people demonstrating that no matter how many times Harry and his wife try and tell their story through their narrative, more and more people are just not buying it. And of course, she cannot see that she's digging herself deeper because she's blinded by her narcissism. I'm H.G. Tudor. Thank you for listening.